Hi, today we're going to deal with how to renovate roof tiles, get rid of the moss and so on, and to renovate it from something that looks like this, which is a bit black, covered in moss all over various places, has been worse, but we're going to change it so that it looks nice and new. The original red colour is coming back again, and all of the moss is not only removed but actually killed, and all of the spores of the moss are killed off so it doesn't regrow. So here we can see a far out shot. The right hand side has been scraped and treated with the chlorine solution, so you can see how much difference it makes. And actually that will get redder and brighter and newer looking as the time goes on, because the chlorine continues to work, I think probably in conjunction with the sun, and it bleaches out the green moss and algae and kills the black bacteria that was making your roof look a bit messy. So there's only two real stages to this: scraping off the moss and chlorinating it to kill off what's left. First, a quick mention of safety. A lot of people do get killed and injured falling off roofs every year, especially DIYers. Ideally what you want is a long roof ladder. You could use a ladder like this and have the hook or roof ladder optional extra attached to it. Basically that's a hook that goes on the end of the ladder with a wheel that hooks around the top of the roof and stops the ladder from falling down the roof. So I'd recommend using that. This is the ladder setup that I've used. What you've got to be careful of is the bottom of the ladder shifting out. So basically sort of moving to the left from this angle. I've used a car battery to stop that happening. Not the safest of arrangements, I have to say, but it does seem to work for me. It's not something I'm recommending. All I'd really recommend is staying safe and either use scaffolding or a roof ladder with a hook on the end. And also when you rest the roof ladder on the tiles, try and have it touching the tiles in a few places to distribute the load. So to get rid of the moss, there's a few tools you could use. I quite like to use a bit of angle iron I got from the garage, which is quite handy for getting into all the nooks and crannies like so on. If you haven't got that, you could use a metal ruler like this one, do the same thing. Or you could use a wire brush. So whatever you choose to use, just get the majority of the moss off. Little bits left we're going to kill off with the chlorine solution. Also quite useful to have a bucket which you can attach to your ladder by a bungee cord. It's useful for then grabbing up handfuls of the moss to save it all falling down below. And you do that as you go. So keep on scraping off the moss over the roof. This size roof probably took about a couple of days, off and on, probably maybe 6 hours a day or something. So it's convenient probably to chlorinate each section of the roof after you've moss scraped it off, then you don't have to keep moving the ladder too much. So how do we chlorinate it? What's very useful is to have a backpack like this one. I'll try and put some links in the video description for these. So it straps onto your back, only needs a couple of pumps on the handle to pressurize up a small container in the top, and then you just squirt on the handle to squirt out the chlorine solution. So what chlorine solution do we use? So it's this sodium hypochlorite, which you can get from swimming pool shops quite cheaply. That is sodium hypochlorite 10% 11% solution with Klll. That is about £18–19 from a swimming pool shop, and also put some links in the video description for buying that online. I tend to dilute it down such that I put 5 litres of the neat chlorine solution in and then top it up to 15 litres of water. So it's like a 2 to 1 dilution. And then it's just a matter of strapping it on your back, climbing up the ladder carefully again, and squirting it over the roof, making sure to thoroughly cover all of the surfaces. So in my experience, this tends to last for around a couple of years, depending on how many trees you've got overhanging. You tend to get a lot of the algae and moss falling off from the trees, and probably eventually it'll regrow. And you could also go a step further and spray on some sealant or paint on some sealant. There probably are products out there that could either recolour the roof or just seal it and keep the moisture out. It's not something I tend to do. It's a fair bit more time consuming and quite a lot more expensive. This procedure is mainly just expensive in your time. The cost of the chlorine is not very much at all. Probably one tub of chlorine is all I needed to do this roof. Probably a fraction less, in fact. So this is just a record of how I did my roof. I probably took a few more risks than I would recommend people to do. In particular, probably wouldn't recommend standing on top of the ladder like I was doing, or standing to the side of the ladder, because I say a lot of people do get injured. So make sure you stay well within your capabilities and your comfort zone, because I don't want people suing me saying I've fallen off a ladder. So however you decide to do it, it's your responsibility to look after yourself. And well, basically this is how the roof turned out, which is reasonably pleasing, and as I say, should last a couple of years. If you decide to have a go yourself, take care, good luck with yours, and thanks for watching.